Just before we start the episode, here's a trailer for another podcast. If you like what you hear, go and check it out.
Hey guys, this is Ben.
And I'm Karen.
All you do is read about crime.
If you have serial killer posters in your bedroom.
If you're hiding newspaper article clippings under your bed, looking at you, Karen.
Don't be concerned. We share your compulsion.
Join us, Ben and Karen, husband and wife team, as we delve deeper into the mind of serial killers.
Dive into the darker side of humanity, but from the safety of your own couch. You can find our website,
crimeandcompulsion.com.
Find us on Facebook,
Crime and Compulsion.
Find us on Instagram,
Crime and Compulsion Podcast.
Find us on Twitter,
at Crime Compulsion. Find our episodes wherever you get your favorite podcast streaming from.
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Crime Divers.
Hello everybody, welcome back.
Hello.
So today is a Laura-sode, and I have no idea. I've just realised that you haven't even told me the title.
I did not tell you this.
No, because usually I ask Laura in advance what the title of her episode so I can write it down in the diary so I know which days that they're going to be scheduled on. And I haven't asked you this week. So what is the name of your episode?
It's called The Boogeyman of Westfield.
The Boogeyman of Westfield. Okay, well, I don't think I've heard of this one before.
Well,
What country are we in today?
we are in America.
Oh, we're in America.
Mm-hmm.
So, should we just dive in?
I think we should just dive into this
Let's
one.
go.
Okay. So John Frederick List was born in Bay City, Michigan on September the 17th, 1925.
Oh, it's an old one.
Yep. It's an older one, I suppose.
Do you mean an older one? It's like 100 years ago.
It's not. Oh, you're right, he was born. Oh, well, it's actually not far over 100 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said.
That's true. That's true. But he was only born then. This is not when he committed these crimes.
Okay.
He was an only child born to German-American parents. And List was a devout Lutheran, which is basically part of like a Protestant church.
A Lutheran? I've never heard of that before.
Well, I had never heard the term of that, but basically they're like a because you get can't even say the word, Protestants and Catholics.
Uh-huh.
So they're more Protestant,
Alright.
and they have certain beliefs and stuff like that. I mean, it's quite a big list of stuff, so it's quite a lot to divulge. So you can always look it up and figure out.
I don't need to know what it is.
No. And he was also a Sunday school teacher as well in his time, which made sense because he was a devout churchgoer. In 1943, he enlisted in the US Army and he served as a laboratory technician during World War II.
Right.
He was discharged from the army in 1946 and he went on to college where he gained a bachelor's degree in business admin and a master's in accounting. But in November 1950, the Korean War had started, so that had escalated, and he was actually recalled to active military service. It was there that he met a woman called Helen Morris Taylor. She was actually a widow of an infantry officer who had been killed in the Korean War. And they lived nearby the army base, and she already had a daughter as well called Brenda. So they began dating, and not long after Helen told List that she was pregnant.
Right.
So back then, find out you're pregnant, do the thing and
Get
they got
married.
Yeah. So they got married upon learning about the pregnancy, and only to find out that she wasn't actually pregnant after all.
Oh, did she know that? Did she do it on purpose?
I think she must have, but it was a truth that she did reveal, but only after they got married. So she did tell him, but after they had got married.
After she'd already got him trapped.
Yes. So he was obviously feeling a bit deceived at that point, but because he's a churchgoer, not willing to break his marriage vows.
Right.
He stuck with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their lives began under a bit of a cloud, but that quickly did actually go away because they did have 3 children.
All right. Okay.
They were all born in the first 4 years of the marriage.
Ooh. 3 children in 4 years.
Yeah, that's pretty hard.
That's a lot.
But then, that I don't know.
Did that TV back then?
Oh no, I just did they actually have contraception back then?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a long time.
I thought you meant that if they didn't have TV, they'd nothing better to do than have sex and have babies and look,
No.
But they did have TV back then, didn't they?
Oh no, but it was 1950s, wasn't it? TV, I think. So maybe not.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm sure it was the 1950s. So
Okay.
maybe not quite. They didn't have TV. There's no mention of TVs in this. Well, there is later, but not at this point.
Right. Okay.
After completing his second tour in the army, List was obviously released again, and he worked for an accounting firm in Detroit, and then as an audit supervisor at a paper company in Kalamazoo. But by 1959, List had been promoted to a general supervisor of the company's accounting department, but Helen, who was actually now an alcoholic, had become increasingly unstable. So in 1960, Brenda, who was Helen's first child from her previous, she got married and left the household. List then moved the remainder of the family to Rochester, New York, to take a job with, I don't really know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Xerox, but it's spelled Xerox. Is that like
Xerox?
Xerox. Is that how you pronounce it? Xerox.
Do you know? How can you not know how to pronounce Xerox?
Xerox.
It's a massive big company.
Oh, I know I'd heard of it, but I couldn't remember. It's different when it's written down. So anyway, so he took a big job. He took a job with Xerox.
Right.
There, he eventually became a director of accounting services, and in 1965, List accepted a position as a vice president and controller at a bank in Jersey City, New Jersey. And then he moved his wife and children again, and his mum, because his dad had died in 1944.
Right.
So his mum was living with him, and they moved into a 19-room Victorian mansion at 431 Hillside Avenue in Westfield. So it sounds like a really nice man at this point, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that's gonna change, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like quite a nice family man, you know. And that's where I thought this is sounding quite good to start with, but
This is a true crime show.
Yeah, so this is where it starts getting not so good. So at this point, everything starts to totally fall apart. The three List children, so they were Patricia, John, and Frederick, they all steadily grew into teenagers. Helen grew increasingly unstable because she was an alcoholic. She had kept a secret from her husband for years, and now she couldn't hide it from him any longer. Helen had hereditary syphilis, which is a sexually transmitted infection, which she contracted from her first husband.
So is he playing about then? Like,
Well, I don't know, because there's nothing about her first
Oh, is there
husband,
nothing, right.
so I don't really know what's happened there, but clearly he must have had it. She's caught it. She's not told.
so she knew that she had it, but she's not told him.
She's basically not told him, because I think it's symptoms that you can live with for like years and years and
Right.
years, so it's not something that just goes away or whatever. So I don't even know if she actually got it treated, because it doesn't really say. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But why didn't you though? If you know that you've got anything, doesn't have to be sexual.
unless it's
just-
something that's not treatable.
Oh,
I mean,
maybe.
I don't really look into like in depth about
Right.
the actual disease. I just know it's a sexually transmitted disease.
Oh,
So
maybe not.
Maybe it's not treatable. Maybe it's just something that you do live with.
Well, I don't know, and I'm not going to find out either.
No, never mind. So after their move to New Jersey, Helen began experiencing blackouts, vision issues, and instability. She began to self-medicate with alcohol in addition to her prescription tranquilizers.
So, did you actually write this?
Yeah.
So you already knew that?
Yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
As bad as me.
I know. Yeah, so she did have prescription tranquilizers, but I'm assuming it doesn't take away the disease, it must just make you live with it. So Helen had also stopped attending church as well because of this.
Right.
In addition to Helen's physical and moral decline, List had also become concerned about his children, who were becoming typical teenagers at this age, in the free-spirited 60s, so, you know, all about getting high and stuff in it.
Lovely.
Patricia, their daughter, she wanted to grow up to be an actress, and there were rumours that she dabbled in smoking marijuana.
Alright.
Because that was quite a big thing back in the 60s,
Yeah.
wasn't it? With hippies. Was that hippie age?
The 60s, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she wanted to be a hippie actress, I don't know. But she wanted to be an
A
actress.
hippie actress.
Okay, I'm just making it up now. So List faced even more stress when he lost his high-paying job at the bank less than a year into it. Now, at the time, I didn't really understand why he'd lost his job, but I did read later, which I think I have actually written down later, but it was because the bank actually closed, so it was nothing. It was nothing that he had done.
Right.
It had just closed, but I didn't realise at that point when I was writing it down, it was later on that I found that out. But instead, of telling his family, he got up and pretended to go to work every day. So he basically didn't want to face the humiliation of losing
You see
his
that
happy-
on films and TV. the guy did it on the Full Monty.
Oh, did he? I haven't seen. I've seen the film, but I can't.
Yeah,
remember
the one that was like the kind of well-to-do guy that always had a suit and everything on. Like,
Right, okay.
was his name Gerald or something? And he was the one that had been quite well off.
Mm-hmm.
And he would get up and go to work, like pretend he was going to work, but he was actually going to the job centre every day to sign on. See?
No, I mean, I don't get it wrong. I mean, obviously, must be a bit embarrassing if you lose your job, etc. But it wasn't even his fault, from what I learnt later.
Well, why should it be embarrassing then? There's no shame in losing your job.
Exactly, but I mean, they were living in this big 19-bedroom house. Maybe, I don't know, he just didn't want to worry his family, I suppose, because I mean, she was already quite unstable as it was, and maybe she just didn't want that. But yeah, so basically, he got up and pretended to go to work every day. He did actually get a new job.
Oh, good.
So that paid less than he was earning before, but he actually quickly lost that one as well.
He's not doing very well, is he?
No, so this cycle continued, and List eventually resorted to skimming money off his mother.
Right. What do you mean skimming? Like stealing?
Yeah,
Oh.
basically stealing. Yeah,
Why can he not just ask for a loan?
exactly. But again, I suppose
He's obviously got a lot of pride, hasn't he? If he's
Yeah,
like,
I think so, because I think that's because he still hadn't told his family that he lost any of these jobs. So
Oh, right, okay.
They just thought he was still working. They didn't know anything that had happened with him losing his first job, and I think he just didn't want to lose face with him, basically. But
Steal off your mother, though. That's not
no,
nice.
it's awful. But by 1971, List was bankrupt.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
No surprise there, yeah. So rather than face the humiliation of admitting to his family that they were financially broke, List saw only one option. He
Oh,
would
God.
need to kill his family.
Oh, I thought he was going to, like, rob a bank.
Oh no.
You could have done it non-violently.
Yeah, but no, he decided to kill his family.
Because, of course, that's the only option.
But exactly, I mean, rather than admit that you've lost your job and you've no money, then he thought he'd have to kill him, which I thought was awful.
Of course.
So on the 9th of November 1971, List woke his children and sent them off to school. He then shot Helen, his wife,
God.
who was 46, in the back of the head while she drank her morning coffee.
Oh.
So, she's just got up.
Imagine doing it from behind, but what coward doing it from
That's what I
behind.
thought. That was my initial thought when I
Was
read
it?
that. I was like, what a coward. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't even...
Couldn't even face her.
Yeah,
Couldn't
yeah.
even look her in the eyes.
Exactly. So, what a shame, she's just made her coffee and she gets shot in the back of the head. List then placed her body on a sleeping bag and dragged her into the ballroom, because bear in mind this is a big posh...
Oh, the
90s
ballroom?
Yes, the ballroom. This is a big posh, like, the bedroom, like, house and stuff. There's pictures of the house, so it's like one of those, like, very posh Victorian type house. So she was dragged into the ballroom. Next, John, I meant List. I don't know why I call him by his first name, but it is John List.
Doesn't matter.
No. He headed upstairs to his mother's apartment, so there must have been a wee bit for his mother.
A wee granny
A
flat.
wee granny flat, where he shot and killed her.
Oh, he killed his mum as well?
He did, yeah.
Oh my God. So he didn't only steal from her,
Mm-hmm.
he went and killed her as well?
Yep, she was 84.
Oh.
I know.
He's horrible.
His mother was too heavy for him to move to the ballroom, so he basically left her where she had fallen and put a towel over her face.
Yeah, that's what they do though, because they can't bear to like look at them. So you find that a lot with people when they know the person.
Yeah.
They can't like guilt or whatever. They can't look at them. So that's why he shot his wife in the back of the head, and then he's covered his mum's face because like you just can't. Look at her.
Yeah. So after that, while he waited for his children to come home, he actually contacted the kids' teachers and anyone else who they may come into contact with. And he told them that the family were leaving to go to take care of a sick relative in North Carolina. Which I was like, takes a whole family to go up and take care of a sick relative. Maybe it was a done thing in that day where
No idea.
all your family went somewhere. But that's...
Maybe it was going to be long term. See,
true.
if we tell them that it's going to be like for a few months.
I think
or
that's what he's
something,
trying to do, isn't he? He's trying to paint a picture like they're going away so that nobody notices
Yeah.
that they're not around. So he then stopped their mail and their newspaper deliveries as well, and he then cashed out the rest of his mother's money.
He had it all organised, didn't he? Like even like stopping the mail and everything
Well, I know,
like
'cause he
that.
must have
That's well organised.
Because to me, that's not just a spur of the moment action.
Yeah.
Like he's thought that sort of plan out
Well, he has, because you said he decided to kill his family,
Yeah,
so
he has thought it out.
He's thought everything out, though, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. So when Patricia came home from school, List shot her and laid her in the ballroom next to her mother. Then when 13-year-old Frederick came home, he experienced the same fate, was shot, put in the ballroom.
God. And they were teenagers?
Yeah.
What a shame.
I know. So then List then drove to his 15-year-old son, John Jr., to his soccer game, where he watched his son play before driving him home, and he then shot him when they got home and laid him in the ballroom, just like the rest of the family. So that...
What a monster!
Totally killed them all. Afterwards, List cleaned up and he made an 80s dinner. Did his dishes and then went to bed. So he just carried on like...
Oh my God!
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could carry on like normal when your whole family is lying dead in the house.
Oh no.
I thought that was quite...
That's bad. Like, how do you just go on as normal?
I know. I don't... I mean, I don't know. I'm not a killer, so I really don't know how he did that so calmly, but he did. And then the next day, List turned down the aircon, turned on the lights and some classical music, and he wrote a full confession out to his pastor before leaving the town forever.
But why? Oh, I suppose because the pastor won't be allowed to...
Well, yeah, it's technically confidential,
Yeah.
isn't it? Meant to be, yeah. So, yeah.
But, like...
So he confessed to all, basically.
Yeah, but But would you not still have that worry that the pastor... I know, like, they're not allowed to do it, but, like...
But then the thing that I didn't understand was, how does he know the pastor would find it first?
Well, I was actually kind of thinking how the pastor could get around that. Like, the pastor could just say, I never read it, and, like, he could just, like, leave it for somebody else to read and have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but then, like I say, I mean, who's to say that somebody else doesn't turn up at the house and picks up a letter and reads it first, and then... Because he didn't deliver it to his pastor, he just left it in the house.
So, if he left it in his house, then surely the pastor isn't going to be the first one.
Well, exactly. So
but then again, whoever is the first in the house would probably see the letter from the pastor
maybe.
And pass it on.
Possibly.
But if it's the police that are the first in the house, they've got every right to open that, haven't they?
Well, exactly. Because it's, yeah.
So that's kind of taking quite a big risk then, doing that.
Or just, I don't know, maybe just believed in his faith so much that he thought that would be fine.
I don't know, but that's I certainly wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be leaving you, because if you go to all that effort of trying to cover it up with telling everybody that they were moving away and stopping the mail and all that kind of stuff, I think that's a massive risk to actually write it down.
Yeah.
Where anybody could see it. Like,
exactly. But
so,
he did. So he left the town forever. And his plan had worked, because it was actually a month before anyone began to wonder about the family's disappearance. So, you know, doing all the stuff in the mail and telling them that they were going off somewhere, clearly, you know, it's prevented them.
But why were people starting to wonder, though?
Well, it was Patricia's drama teacher. She actually decided to grab another teacher and investigate where his student, had disappeared to. So he must have.
But why was he bothered? Like, surely...
It didn't say. I don't know why he suddenly became bothered.
I'm not expecting you to answer me, but, you know, like, usually if you move away from a school... Like, you tell them, right, the family's moving away, then the school wouldn't think anything of it, would it? They'd be like, all right, that family's moved away.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking that they said they were going to care for a sick relative, so it wasn't like they were going to be permanently, so maybe the teacher was like, well, it's been a month.
Yeah.
You know,
but then
back?
But after a month, why would they have moved the family? I mean, the whole family. Like, I would have thought that if I'd been told that, we're going to wait, but the whole family is going to look after a sick relative, I would think a month that's only 4 weeks. That's no time at all to move the whole family. You'd expect to be away for longer.
Yeah, that's true. But clearly, this teacher.
I know you don't know.
I don't know the answer, but the teacher obviously decided something wasn't right.
Fair enough.
Him and another.
And he was
teacher.
right. So.
Well, he was right. Yeah. So the teachers obviously went round to the house. They tried to look at the windows of the house. And at that point, it was actually the neighbours who must have saw them looking around the house and thought they were rather suspicious.
All right.
And they called the police.
Oh, okay.
So the police then turned up. When the police arrived and the teachers explained basically why they were there, the police decided to enter the List's home, and that's where or when they found the partially decomposed body of his mother, his wife Helen, his kids Patricia, Frederick and John Jr. as well as the note from List detailing the murders and his reasoning behind them.
So, did they get to the letter
The
first
police
then?
did read the letter
See?
first.
I could be in the police. I already answered that.
Exactly. There is a little bit more about it, in a bit,
Okay.
about what John List's thoughts about that were.
Right.
Okay. So prior to departing New Jersey, List he'd actually destroyed all photographs of himself as well. And he'd parked his car at John F. Kennedy Airport before taking a bus into New York City and a train to Denver, Colorado. By the time his family were discovered, the trail had long gone cold.
Right.
So that was it for like years, like 18
Oh.
years to be exact. That was it. There was nothing happened. Like nothing.
But, like, were the police not looking for him?
Well, they didn't know where he went, no, because they didn't have any photographs of him because they destroyed all his photographs, so they didn't really have anything to go on. And obviously, once they discovered his car, that was it. They didn't know where else to go after that.
But
So,
did they not, like, put it in the newspapers and...
well, I don't actually know because there was nothing to tell me anything what
Yeah,
happened in the
well-
years in between. But let's fast forward 18 years.
Okay.
And a man who is called John Walsh, who I don't know if you would know, but he is now known as a criminal investigator, a TV personality, and a victim's advocate.
That name rings a bell.
Because he does a show, so he basically came to that role through his own tragedy, because on the 27th of July 1981, John Walsh's son, who was 6-year-old Adam, was abducted from a Sears department store and found dead 2 weeks later. So John Walsh ended up using Adam's death to find a new purpose, and he became the host of America's Most Wanted.
Oh, yeah, it kind of rings a bell.
Yeah, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's a show determined to use the media to bring violent criminals to justice. So John Walsh had heard about this case, the John List case, and he basically was determined to help capture the family killer, so he basically brought it back to the forefront of everybody's minds, because I think everybody's forgotten about it after 18
Well, yeah,
years.
because it's 18 years, isn't it?
So knowing that List had managed to go unrecognised for almost 2 decades, Walsh actually reached out to a forensic sculptor called Frank Bender. I have to laugh at that.
Sorry, that's just my immature mind.
Yeah. To create a what do you call it, a bust, you know, the heads. Like
a bust,
yeah.
yeah.
Bust, yeah. To create a bust to see how he would look now, because they did have descriptions of him. So they had no photographs to go on, but they would have had descriptions from him.
Did they not just draw a picture? You can do like a...
No, they created a bust.
I just think it would be easier just to draw like a police sketch thing.
Yeah, so together with forensic psychologist Richard Walter, Bender sculpted a bust in List's likeness that was shown to the world on America's Most Wanted. There's actually a picture of the bust.
Oh, okay.
And to be fair,
Did it look like him?
they did quite well. It was quite accurate, and so accurate that obviously that helped. So
do people recognise him?
well, yeah, because the episode that he was on was aired on the 29th of May 1989 and was viewed in 22 million households. So one viewer, who was called Wanda, thought it was the name, Wanda Flannery, was sure that her ex-neighbour, who was called Bob Clark, was actually List. So she contacted them, the show, and it turns out she was right. It was her ex-neighbour. He had basically made a new life, and he had married a woman called Dolores Miller, who actually divorced him after this all came out, because she clearly had no idea about his past.
Yeah.
But after his arrest, they got divorced.
No surprised.
So the FBI actually discovered that List had settled in Denver in early 1972. He had took on an accounting job using one of his old classmates' name, which was Bob Clark, but it was made known that as Bob Clark and him were never friends. Like the real guy said that
they just used his name.
he didn't really know him, weren't friends and stuff. It was just somebody that was in one of his classes at college. So he had then joined a Lutheran church,
right?
And at one religious gathering, that's when he met Dolores and married her in 1985. And then they moved to Virginia in 1988.
Right.
So less than 2 weeks after the show was aired, List was actually arrested. But for several months, he stood by his alias. Like, he basically was saying, no, I am Bob Clark.
Right.
I'm not this guy.
Right.
That you're looking for. I am him. He was even extradited back to New Jersey, and he was still claiming that he was Bob Clark. But finally, he faced irrefutable evidence, including a fingerprint match with his military records, And then the evidence found at the crime scene, he then confessed to his true identity on the 16th of February 1990. So of course he went to trial, and he testified that his financial difficulties reached crisis level in 1971 when he was laid off, when the closure of the Jersey City Bank, like, so I found that out later, that's why he lost his initial job.
Well, see, there's no shame in that. Like, why? Well, there's no shame in losing a job at all.
No.
But
Exactly. But again, it probably was his pride. He didn't want to let his family down. I mean, let's say his wife was completely unstable as it was, so maybe he didn't want to add to that instability. I don't know. I mean,
so he just killed her instead.
Oh yeah, he obviously thought that was a much better option.
Yeah, obviously.
So rather than tell his family, like I said before, List engaged in the same routine every day, dressing the same, leaving home at the same time, and spend the day basically at interviews or at the train station reading newspapers until it was time to arrive home. List skimmed the money from his mother's accounts to avoid defaulting on the mortgage, so he basically just kept taking money out of account to pay for the mortgage.
I've never heard it being referred to as skimmed.
No, I've heard that term before.
I would have just said stolen.
Yeah, but no, skimmed. I think that means basically not taking all our money, just skimming amounts out.
Maybe it's an American thing.
Maybe, I don't know, but that was the term that it kept repeating on this story, so I was like, okay, that's the term I'll use. A court appointed a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist testified that List suffered from obsessive compulsive personality disorder, and that basically he saw only two solutions to his problems: accept welfare, obviously accept help, or kill his family and send their souls to heaven. So because of his beliefs, welfare wasn't an option, clearly.
What? So if you're what's it called? A
Lutheran,
right? You're not allowed to accept help.
Well, I don't know if you're not allowed to accept it. I don't know if maybe it's just, I don't know. It's to do with like looking after your family and stuff, and like you're like the breadwinner.
Well, yeah, but that would be looking after your family by going and claiming welfare. That's just temporarily until you find another job.
Oh, exactly.
Is looking after your family.
Exactly.
There's no shame in it.
Maybe there was back then. I don't know.
Well, maybe, but still, I mean,
killing your family is not the answer.
Well, yeah, exactly. I would rather go on benefits, welfare, whatever you want to call it, than kill my family.
Exactly. a little bit of maybe shame for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's...
surely you're going to get more shame out of killing your family.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because he went off and created a new life for himself.
But once he got caught, though...
Well, this is true. So anyway, on April the 12th, 1990, List was convicted of 5 counts of first-degree murder. At sentencing, he denied direct responsibility for his actions.
Ugh.
He quoted saying, "I feel that because of my mental state at the time, I was unaccountable for what happened. I ask all affected by this for their forgiveness, understanding and prayer." Of course, the judge was unpersuaded by that. And the judge quoted saying, "John List is without remorse and without honour. After 18 years, 5 months and 22 days, it is now time for the voices of Helen, Alma," who was John List's mum's name, "Patricia, Frederick and John Jr. to rise from the grave." And then, so he imposed a sentence of 5 terms of life imprisonment to be consecutively run. And the maximum, then that was the maximum penalty at the time. So that was the maximum at that time in law that you could actually get. So
I have a question. What happened to her daughter?
Brenda.
Did she not wonder where her mother was and her brother? Well,
I'm assuming she must have, but there was no mention of her. I didn't find anything else about her. I just the fact that,
because you would have thought that she would have been maybe searching for them, and she would maybe go to the police and say oh no, she would have known.
Oh yeah, she would have known.
I'm sorry, I forgot that. She knew they obviously found the body.
Yeah, I mean, because I suppose in the first month, I mean, maybe she genuinely thought they were away helping a sick relative as well. Yeah. But then obviously she would have known they were dead, and maybe she didn't seek to find them, or because maybe she just trusted the police.
I was thinking that she didn't realise that they were dead.
No,
I forgot that she would have known.
She would have known they were dead. Yeah. So List filed an appeal of his convictions on grounds that his judgment had been impaired by post-traumatic stress order due to his military service, and also he argued that the letter he left behind at the crime scene, essentially the confession, was a confidential communication to his pastor and therefore inadmissible as evidence. But a federal court's appeal rejected both arguments for that. So
yeah.
he did try to say that because
But it's in writing, you have confessed it didn't actually get to the pastor, so it's not confidential between you and the pastor.
Exactly, because it didn't even get to the pastor. So
I cannot. If the pastor had read it first, then that could have been different. Obviously, I don't really know.
It might have been, I suppose, but no. But the police were the ones that obviously got to it first, and
well, that was just stupid.
Yeah.
Why did he not just post it to his pastor?
Yeah, or
go and deliver it. Go and see him and say, right, can you read that letter after I've left?
Well, I say he had that month that he got away with it before anybody realised, so he would have had time to go and see his pastor, confess to it, or leave the letter or whatever it is, and then away he went.
He wasn't very good with planning that out, was he?
No, not very good at all. So he was interviewed at the New Jersey State Prison in Trenton by a journalist called Connie Chung in 2002, and List then eventually expressed a degree of remorse for his crimes. He quoted by saying, "I wish I had never done what I did. I've regretted my action and prayed for forgiveness ever since." And when asked why he had not taken his own life at the time of killing, committing suicide at the time of killing his family, he said that he believed that suicide would have prevented him from going to heaven, where he hoped he would be reunited with his family.
I don't think your family would have been wanting to be reunited with you, though.
And I'm like, but you ain't going to heaven if you've murdered them, are you?
Well, no.
So he thought committing suicide would stop him going from heaven.
But murder's not going to make you go to heaven.
Murder's worse. Exactly. Murder is worse, so no, you're not going to heaven.
And even if you did get there,
they're not going to want you there.
Well, exactly. If that was my husband, I'd be like, get to fuck.
Yeah,
you killed us.
Just because we had financial troubles. Not even a decent reason.
It wasn't the end of the world. You didn't have to kill us for it.
Exactly. But yeah, so List died from complications from pneumonia, aged 82, on the 21st of March 2008. So he is no longer with us, and hopefully in hell.
Yeah, but I'm pissed off that he got to 82 when he killed his kids and his wife when they were young.
Well, she was 46. So,
and the kids were like teenagers.
Exactly.
So I'm pissed off that he got to live that long.
I know.
And I'm pissed off that he was free for so long as well.
Yeah, and that's when he was dubbed the Boogeyman of Westfield.
The Boogeyman.
Yes.
Well, that Boogeyman surely is going to be in hell.
I would hope so after that, because I can't find any decent reason why any of that was okay, whether you believe in it.
I get the suicide thing, that people do think that, that if I commit suicide I'm not going to go to heaven, but how can you think that you're going to go to heaven after killing somebody?
Well, exactly. Because you took their lives unnecessarily. I mean...
Well, it's never necessary,
it's never necessary, no, but, I mean, it was awful. Absolutely awful. And, he sounded like a really nice guy up until that point.
It just goes to show that maybe mental health did play a part in it, but...
Yeah, I mean,
still, he murdered his family,
Exactly, there's no excuse for that.
That you can't feel any sympathy for somebody who's killed their family, and especially because of financial issues.
Yeah, exactly, he should have just taken the shame, if it was shame that he was going to feel for a little while, and he would have got another... I mean, they did get other jobs, clearly, I mean, for whatever reason they didn't work out, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, that to me, I just think that's just a temporary thing, there's plenty of people that have gone bankrupt and managed to pull, get themselves back out of it, and
well, exactly, that's it. I mean,
and go on.
I know back then. I mean, men did sort of, they were the breadwinners of the family, and they were the ones that were going out to work, whereas the women weren't really sort of. I mean, they were working back then, but it was it was still quite.
The men were the breadwinners, really.
Yeah, it was still quite common for women to be at home as well. So he was taking care of his family and.
But there was no shame in losing your job.
Oh, no, because it was not even his fault.
Exactly.
It wasn't even like he'd done anything wrong. He had lost his job because the bank had closed, so...
And he could have claimed benefits.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it was just for a few weeks, till he got himself a new job. No, so to me, that was a temporary situation. Killing your family is a permanent situation.
Exactly.
Nay need, Mr. Boogeyman.
No, I don't like him.
No. I think that's kind of quite... What's the word?
Obvious.
No, what's the word when you say that's not...
I don't know what the word is.
That's not enough of a word. You don't like him. That's An understatement.
An understatement. There we go. Yes, that is an understatement.
Yeah.
So that's my story for today.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Or not welcome.
Yeah. So if you would like to follow us on social media, we're on Instagram and Twitter at
crime_divers_pod.
We have a Facebook page.
Crime Divers Podcast.
You can email us
at crime_divers_pod@outlook.com.
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel,
which is Crime Divers Podcast.
If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, we are patreon.com/crime divers, and prices start from as little as £1 a month. You can get early access to shows. We release 2 bonus episodes, well, 2 Patreon only episodes a month, and I think we're going to start posting our outtakes, which or fuck ups as we call them, because like nearly every episode we have fuck ups. It's always at the start.
Yeah, always at the
Never
start.
anywhere else. Always at the start.
Once we get in it, we're good.
Yeah, once we get into the swing of things, we're good. But we always start off absolute rubbish.
Yeah,
don't we?
Yeah, we do.
So is that it? Oh, and if you like the show, what is it? Rate, listen.
Just review the show, please.
Just give us a review.
Review, subscribe,
rate, whatever.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, a review would be amazing.
One day we might. I don't know why people would want to review us. I mean, we're not very good, are we?
If you don't like us, don't give us a crap review. But if you do like us, give us a good one. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.